Hello everybody, it's that time of the month again. Levi Clay back again for another stream. Fingers crossed with this one. You're not experiencing too much hum or hiss in the audio. I've changed my audio setup and I'm using an external mixer now for everything. So I've got my voice going into a mixer. I've got multiple microphones going into my mixer. I've got there's a keyboard going into my mixer so I can play. Got that organ going into a mixer. All these things that are supposed to make this experience of streaming better, and yet the mixer seems to want to make a lot of hiss, a lot of noise, which you don't expect from a very expensive Soundcraft mixer. So I'm having to send that back to deal with that. You'll probably I've got a noise gate on my voice, so you probably don't notice it. But if I boost this up like this, maybe you can hear that. Yeah, that's beating the noise gate there. So, but like this, it should be low enough that you shouldn't hear it. So anyway, hope you're all well. Hope you're looking forward to doing some learning today. We are going to be looking at Jairus Mozee. This is a really, really old video of Jairus playing on the standard Misty, which is a lovely standard to play over. He's playing over it in the key of F, like a heathen. More traditionally, people play the tune Misty in the key of E flat, but you want to play an F, you go for it, Jairus. And I like this rendition because it feels to me like a nice blend of jazz and soul would be my way of describing it. I always say to people, my students more specifically, that I'm not a jazz player, but I kind of think like a jazz player. But I play the music that I play, and this is kind of like the opposite take on that. This is what happens when you have a gospel musician playing over jazz, and he's got jazz vocabulary in there, but at its core, it's definitely got that gospel and neo soul sound to it. So I've wanted to transcribe this for a while, hopefully steal some of these licks, and those YouTube Metallica musician ads are disgusting. Well, the best purchase I made in the last year was getting YouTube Premium, so I don't have to deal with ads anymore. So, highly recommended. And that seems like a strange thing to say, doesn't it? Like paying money to not experience ads. And I'm sure all of you are fine with ads on YouTube, but I watch a lot of YouTube, like a lot of YouTube. It's probably my main media source. So I'm probably being exposed to hours and hours of ads, hours of them, over the course of a week. So yeah, seemed like a wise purchase for me, and I didn't look back. As soon as I got it, I was like, yep, I'm okay with this. I'm happy with this. In theory, I could cancel something like Netflix because I watch more content on YouTube. Anyway, besides the point. So I hope you're all well, and if you have any particular questions about this transcription, I'm here. I'm reading the comments. I see Stephen's comment. I see Godot's comment, obviously. But please do, leave your questions in that comment section below, and I will help. When you out, I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. So, yeah, I will. When am I leaving? I don't know. That doesn't sound. Yeah. Oh, I see what you mean about the YouTube Premium thing. Yeah, I do. I do feel the service is a little bit expensive for what it is, and for the average person with the average amount of YouTube consumption, probably not really worth it. But for someone like myself, and in theory, I should be able to cancel my Spotify because you get YouTube Music with YouTube Premium, and it's essentially the same thing. It has some other nice features, like you can upload your music to it, music that you own on MP3s or whatever, so you can access those via the cloud anywhere, which is a nice touch. But yeah, I like my YouTube Premium, so keep that on the go. Anyway, yeah, as usual, this stream is brought to you by my wonderful supporters over on Patreon. See, Stephen is on. So thank you very much for your love, kindness, and support. If you want to be like these awesome people and get access to my weekly guided practice routines or weekly guided ear training sessions, you want to download this transcription that we do today. I really need to line that up. Why is that out of position? Let's sort that out. Let's do that again. I don't know how that got moved. We'll come back here. It's been annoying me for the last two videos I've done. and I realise how easy it is for me to fix. So this stream is brought to you by my wonderful supporters over on Patreon. If you would like to be like these awesome people and get access to my weekly guided practice routines, get access to my weekly guided ear training sessions, download this transcription, get hundreds of other transcriptions actually, and be part of my community, engage with these cool people and learn more about music, then that is the place to do it. Link is in the description. Your support is very much appreciated. And if that doesn't suit, you can also head on over to Amazon, check out one of my many books that I have available. There's lots of cool stuff in there. In fact, the weekly guided practice routine that's going up tomorrow is that's the right one. The weekly guided practice routine that's going up tomorrow is a long one, usually like 30 to 40 minutes. This one's pushing an hour. And it's because we are learning like a full 2-minute horn section part from a song. And it's just line after line of syncopated sixteenths that we've been working on reading 16th notes and 16th note syncopations for the last few weeks. So it was a challenge for me to record it. So it's certainly going to be a challenge for you, all of you weekly guided practice guys out there that are going to be looking at that. But I hope you have a blast of it. It was a lot of fun to do, and so good luck with that when that drops tomorrow. Let's read a couple more questions. Usually avoid ads somehow. Man who needs jazz and musical vocabulary can play like Metallica for just musicians. It's really funny because if I was the content creator that I was 5 years ago, I would absolutely get that the product, and I would go through it in detail and highlight all the mistakes that are in it, because there will be mistakes in it. You can't come to me and be like, hey, see this album that came out over 3 decades ago, let me show you how we played it. Motherfuckers, you've been playing this stuff and it's mutated, it's changed, you've adapted the way you do these things. There's no way that you have the detail of how you recorded it on the record. I know that sounds really fucking arrogant, but I'm a transcriber, okay? I can transcribe how something was played on the record. That's a very different thing to, oh yeah, sure, I played the record 30 years ago, so I'm sure I know exactly, all the details of how it happened. Some people are like that. Some people do remember the details of everything, but I can assure you, Metallica are not that group of people, Kirk Hammett in particular. Anyway, let's take a look at what we're transcribing today. So I guess I can bring it up like this. In fact, I tell you what, let's do this. Let's full screen it. I will. I need this. Need that. I'll move this over here. Press play on it, and we'll just listen to it, and I'll talk you through the basic idea, and then we'll get to transcribing it. So lovely playing on this.
Information from Jairus. I want to hear him play. How about you? Yeah, let's go.
So, some really, really nice playing in there. I think we'd all agree on that. Some just luscious playing in there. Like, just super tasty. And, of course, it's nice. It's always, I think it's nice to see music played in ways that you're not usually expecting it to be played. Playing it on a, jazz, he's playing jazz there and doing so on a Strat has a very different sound to it. The bending of the strings just immediately makes me think more, kind of more Larry Carlton approach to playing changes, which is nice. No, it's the Misty changes, Tippy, hence why the video is called Transcribing Jairus, Mozee, Misty. Not to poke fun, but yeah, Misty. Great dynamics with the pick attack, yeah. Just a really, really nice playing, and there's some nice blends in there, I think, of chord melody and single note runs, which is very much an important thing in the modern neo soul vernacular. you need to be familiar with melodic vocabulary that fits around your chords, so you can do that. Did I transcribe other versions of Misty? You did not read. Now you know. I've transcribed lots of different versions of Misty, yeah. And I think I may do another one because I found a nice video of someone else doing one that I thought would be fun for you guys to take a look at. Anyway, so we're going to look at that. I am going to transcribe it with the piano. No, it's not true. I don't need the piano for this. I shouldn't need the guitar for this either. So I'm not going to be doing it on the guitar, but I do have a guitar. I have lots of guitars. So there may come a point in this where I grab a guitar to maybe look at some of the ideas that he's playing and kind of talk about what he's not just transcribing it and going, well, there are the notes that he's playing, but giving you that insight into what I'm doing when I transcribe for my own personal study. Because this is about study. This isn't, obviously, like I do a lot of jobs for clients. I'm transcribing an album for someone at the moment, and like I'm not learning any of the stuff that I'm transcribing. That's a product for people. So that's work. Whereas this is study. This is personal study. So I'm transcribing this because I'm interested in understanding what's going on here. So it's likely that I might want to pick up the guitar and go, okay, what's he doing there, and why is he doing that, and how does this make sense, and how can I steal this stuff and practice this stuff and get it into my vocabulary? So hopefully you're up for some of that. If there's any questions that you have about things that he's played and you want me to grab a guitar and kind of talk you through my mindset behind what's going on, please do feel free to. So let's jump on over to my screen. I'm going to be doing this in Guitar Pro 8, but I'm not using the audio import feature in Guitar Pro 8 for this, but just purely because there's video and Guitar Pro 8 doesn't take video. Though to be honest, I still do prefer primarily using Transcribe for all of my audio needs. This is definitely going to be a little bit nightmarish to transcribe, to write out, and the reason I say that is because it's free time. It's free time, right? So not only is the tempo fluctuating, but bar lengths are fluctuating, yeah? He doesn't think to himself, what I've got here are 4 beats to fill with my line, with my run. What he has is, I'm playing an F major 7 chord, let me play a phrase. And he just plays until he goes, okay, that's the end of the phrase, now we'll move on to the next phrase. And that can always be nightmarish for transcribing because there's no good way to do it. You either have, weird bars of 5/8 thrown in there, which is what we'll have to do in Guitar Pro. Or what I saw often when I was younger, you would see bars that were written as 4/4 bars, but they were actually incomplete in terms of the amount of notes, and they would have more notes in them than technically would fit. You can do other silly things like use tuplets, I guess would be another way of doing it. If somebody's playing an F major 7 chord and they play a lick and the lick is 19 notes. In theory, you could use a tuplet. You could do 19 in the space of 16. I don't like stuff like that. I guess what I'm getting at is when it comes to notating free time music, you're talking about music that was born away from notation. It was music that was born with notation not being in mind. It's not like me playing something that I've composed, something that I've written down, like a jazz standard. It's not like... Bad example. It's not like me playing Misty from the real book, where in my mind I've got a very strict idea of what the melody is and let me rephrase that, what the form is. This is, the improvisation is what's coming first, and the push and pull of that is what's coming first. So you don't think, oh, well, I don't want to put these extra 4 notes on this lick or these 3 notes on the lick because then it will be a pain in the ass to write out. That would be silly. We don't want to do that. Picked up 8 recently. Juicy features. Do you reckon they'll ever add video functionality? To be honest, it's totally possible. It's totally possible. I don't know how well it would implement. To be honest, I would rather sit down with them and fix a lot of the audio issues that I have with it, the way the audio control, I would say, functions in it. There's definitely a lot of things that I think they could do with the audio import feature that would improve the audio import feature. And then when they got that, I think it would just be a simple case of using something like GStreamer, which I know is the plugin that Transcribe uses to allow you to view video whilst it's processing audio. So it shouldn't actually be difficult for them. I'm sure they could use something like GStreamer as just an additional plugin in the software to allow video to display. But yeah. Sorry, let me get some juice. I would rather they fixed the audio features. And I mean, there's a lot of things in Guitar Pro 8 that I think just overall user functionality things that I think could be vastly improved. Like, for example, they brag about the fact that you can mix the drums now in Guitar Pro 8. Do you have any idea how to do that? Do you have any idea how to bring the drum mixer up? It's tricky. I've got a Word document that tells me how to do it in case I need to do it, because when I opened the software initially and I was trying to work out how to do it, I couldn't work out how to do that. I couldn't work out how to do it. And I'm very familiar with Guitar Pro and how it works, you know. And so it should be mega intuitive to me, but it wasn't intuitive at all. So for somebody that is new to Guitar Pro, it's not good enough. So they've got a lot of functionality, lots of UI things they need to fix. Anyway, let's jump into it. So, this is your classic your 7 sus sound, which drops down to a 9 chord, and then he's going to go to a probably 13 flat 9, could be a 7 flat 9. It's going to be C, right? So, and worth pointing out, you know, there's so much that goes into me doing this when I talk about this. On the one hand, I am using my ear. You know, I know what these chords sound like. I know. Says he wasn't going to use piano and then immediately starts playing piano, right? I know this sound. I'm really familiar with this sound on the instrument. That 4/5. What is he? He drops the. Yeah, that note drops down, and then he'll play. No, it's got a flat 9 in there. Okay, he'll go. Pedal. I know the sound, so I am associating the sound, but then of course we have video, so I can see physically. I know these shapes. I know what he's playing here. So it is a combination of the two things. When I do this, I'm definitely using my ear processing the sounds that he's playing. Function. I'm hearing dominant 7 chord that resolves. You know, I cover all of this sort of stuff, or I am covering this stuff in my weekly guided ear training sessions. Don't want to do it too much here. You get the idea though. Like, it's not just eyes, but it's not just ears. We need to use both. So we've got actually, so here's one of the other features in Guitar Pro that desperately needs fixed, right? See this open E string. Listen to how that sounds. Okay, listen to the 5th fret on the B string. Whoops. Listen to the 9th fret on the G. Listen to the 14th fret on the D. Listen to the 17th fret on the A. 19. It's the same sound sample. So that wasn't that way in Guitar Pro 7. So you get this weird thing in this where if I was playing a pentatonic scale, you know, this is clearly an open string. This is clearly an open string. It's like the sound sample is that. These things bug me. Anyway. Oh, is he not putting the flat 9 in there? So I would expect this note to be in there. That's the jazz. Did it a second ago. I can probably put the softer sound on to put my Rhodes sound on. Here we go. So yeah, you expect to hear this. Which is going to... Oh, my pedal was there. Going to resolve you really nicely too. He's not putting the flat 9 in there. We're having... And then he's dropping to... Which still resolves. It does give you that 5/1 resolution. Flat 9 is the jazzier way of doing it. So he's not doing that. He's playing boring vanilla dominant 7 sound. and it, immediately I'm in this problem now where this melody. We know this melody, ba da da, to be the intro of Misty. So that would be a pickup, and therefore because of that, I'm going to put a fermata, which is our let the note ring thing, over the chord here. We'll just let that ring as long as necessary. I probably will put the whammy bar stuff in. There's just no good way to do this because I don't like it. He does hold that way too long for it to be putting the fermata on there. So your other option would be to. The other reason I like this, putting this in, is because there's definitely a rest between this, right? Sorry, yeah. Nope. Ba-da. There's time signatures like that. That feels dumb, but it's what it is. Yeah, so Godot's seen the problem with that classical pieces. Has that same chord as Long and Winding Road. Yeah, it becomes really dumb when you're trying to notate like chord voicings, and you open strings just sound like open strings. There's no way of avoiding that. They sound like open strings. That's why we use them, because of the way they sound. But fretted notes don't sound like open strings, so and neither should they. So when you're writing in a chord voicing, like if I wrote in if I wrote that, the thing that jumps out to me in that is this middle note, ba 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 ba. I'm still harmonizing. It's so apparent, that note. It's in the middle of the chord, but it really stands out. So they need to fix that. I don't know how they were that fucking incompetent. Oh, of course I do. I wrote this music. Okay, so anyway, back to where we were. And for something like this, I think putting the chords in as you go is probably the easiest way of doing it. So thinking of that as being a B flat over C, thinking of this as being a C9. I don't believe in putting things like no, given interval in there. And this has been a C7. Generally speaking, it's a tricky one. Like I'm not actually all that crazy on these. There's kind of two approaches to this, right? One would be to put the chord voicing over the chord that's being played, that is the name of the chord voicing that's being played. So this is a B flat over C, this is a C9, this is a C7, okay? I would prefer, personally, to do this. Because this is more representative of the harmony, like the functional harmony. What he's going for is a C7 sus sound, which then resolves to a C7 chord. I think it just ends up making your transcription look tidier from an analysis perspective, so that's why I do that. This is an F major 7, obviously. And it's, feeling it's being like an offset triplet, but I don't want to overthink it because it's free time, so. Gonna be a C minor 7. Put a key signature in on there. At least that way you're... So the reason I put a key signature in is that when I do put in notes that aren't diatonic, like here, this E flat, because we're in the key of F, which is a flat key signature, it will default to putting flats in. There might be the odd time where I need to change it to a sharp, like if you played a C7 sharp 5 or C7 sharp 9 or whatever. There might be times where that's relevant, but primarily, almost exclusively, flats are going to make more sense. like this 10th fret here. It's an F, but there's no way that 10th fret F sounds like that. That just sounds like first fret. What's he playing there? Yeah. And to be honest, we can probably do the auto beaming thing so it doesn't like that. That's a really simple ass lick, right? But I mean, really, like, would make more sense. But 7 sus, cool. C minor 7. Think of this as being. Can't really call it an F7 sus. Guess like F11. Yeah, technically. It's rootless, but the function here is a 2-5, which resolves to B flat major. Do we have the 5th in that? Not really. I'll put it in there. I don't really hear it. I hear the top note of that as being the 7. It's there, but it's very, very quiet. Cool. So let's keep going. Now the beaming is already no good. So I'd probably make this a bar of 5. Again, tricky. There's no right or wrong answer for stuff like this. There's just no right, because you could change this. You could make this a quarter note with a fermata on top of it, but it doesn't really feel in keeping to do that, because it doesn't feel like he holds it for a beat. It really does feel like he holds it for an extended period of time. This is interesting. This is all like let ring. The reason I say this is interesting is, like, harmonically, this looks like an E flat 9 chord. Does any of this really resemble B flat minor 7? Yeah, actually. Okay, so all right. So another way that we could write this would be if we do that. I'm okay with this. Then we do this, this, this. Make this 4/4. You know, I want to, wherever possible, keep this in 4/4. Just the fact that he plays the flat 3 of the B flat minor 7 chord here, of B flat, would suggest this is B flat minor 7. This is an E flat 9. So this does make sense in terms of the form, the way you would play. Nope. Misty. we expect him to hit this chord, and then we're going to go back to an F major 7. Which he isn't doing. He's going to an A minor 7, which is like a 3 chord. He's going to do like a 3, 6, 2, 5, which would be F, D, spice. So fermata on that, because he definitely holds it. Is he playing all of that? See, that's really funny to me. Like, this is, as a voicing, is like just one of the biggest no-nos. I'm always telling my students that we don't play minor 7 chords like that with a 5th on the bottom. But you do see neo-soul guys doing that, so we'll allow it. I do just want to check for strums, because these are very much like he's raking those, right? Brush down strings. This is definitely trickier. I can hear the chord. It's a 7 flat 5. It's that. Which you can think of it, I guess, being 7 sharp 11. And if I'm thinking of it being 7 sharp 11, then we want that to be a C sharp, and we want that to be a D sharp. That's a D minor. Now I have to decide, 8th note, 16th note, what's going to look best on the page. I've used 16th notes here, so, I've set precedent, if you like. It might be a case of just going in after the fact and getting this in bars that I like the look of. Like a G9 sharp 11. Is it G9? Yeah, well, I mean, I guess G9 sharp 11 is going to work in a minor context. So, let's have a think about this. What do I like? I think free time, I'm just going to keep saying this. There is no way I'm ever going to notate this where I'm happy with the way it looks on the page. No way. It's not like transcribing. I always jump to Andy James as the example of this, because obviously I worked with Andy for years. And Andy is so brutally accurate with everything that he does. It's like maths. Like, when you're in school and you do an equation, there's no arguing over whether or not the answer is correct. The answer is either correct or it's incorrect. This is the opposite of that. This is like philosophy, or this is like writing an essay in history. Your facts aren't up for debate, but how you choose to express those facts to people are different. Like, these are the notes that are being played, but there's no right or wrong way to notate something that's this flexible in terms of time. So I think I'm going to mimic the bar that came before. That's wild to be doing that. Nope. That's that fourths thing. Just, I mean, this tempo, it just doesn't. I mean, 120 is a bit ridiculous, isn't it? Let's bring that down to 80. And of course, like, there's just no. He's for the most part holding these out, right? And you can sort of simulate a lot of that by going, okay, so this chord he lets ring into the next chord. This chord he lets ring throughout the entire passage. This chord he doesn't let ring, but then this chord, and this chord, these all ring into the next notes. But then your guitar profile looks fucking awful. Now, of course, the other way of dealing with it would be you could go, okay, I'm going to tie my notes across. I guess you do that. This is going to give you the most control of the Midi. But again, there's always compromise. The notation is fucking unbearable when you do that. So I'm just going to leave it out. I think that when you are transcribing something like this, there has to be a sense of having faith that the person that's playing it isn't an idiot. Be my only way of describing it. So this is A minor 7. This diatonically, yeah, that does make sense. I was going to say D7, but no, it's not the turnaround. This is like a weird flavor on a D minor 7, but really D minor 7. This is, again, it should be G minor 7, but when you really look at the harmony he's playing here, this is like a G9 sharp 11. That doesn't really clash with a G minor 7. So yeah, this is C7. So but you know, 2 5s, they look very similar. So let's just put. Let's do a G minor 7, put it in brackets. Because it's not the strict harmony he's playing. Minor 4? No, minor 4. Yeah, notation looks messy. A wee bit of Julian's playing, yeah. 3 times sounds great, writing it down. But hate it. Absolutely hate it. I tend to turn it down for any professional work now. Just because, certainly for publishing, I won't do it anymore. Is this our 4/5? So not 4 minor. No, this is 4/5. This is B flat over C. Yeah, nice run that. I think probably would prefer that. Yeah. So this line here, like when you really look at this, is classic like F7 gospel F7 sound. It's not the right sound to be playing there, but it's what he plays, and it's kind of cool. I mean, it's super cool. I'll put it in brackets like that because he's definitely. Now let me just listen to it and make sure I'm. Let me just get a feel if I prefer it as triplets. The free time bar line is just a visual thing though, it doesn't actually do anything. I tend to put the free time bar lines in, I'll highlight, once I've got to the end of the transcription, I'll go up here and, where is it? There. I'll go up here and I'll add the free time in at the end. Yeah, no, it's definitely like a 4 feel. Anywhere around by stating it's free time. Oh, okay. I see what you mean. Yeah. I'll just show you what that looks like. Because Godot's making the point, right? So if I did this and clicked free time, then when you do the piece, when you look at the piece from the start, you're going to have, it will say free time here, and all of your bar lines will be dotted, and your time signatures will have brackets around them. That's the change that it makes. It doesn't play any differently, but it does the job. So, what famous guitarists are known for free time? You haven't heard the term free. What do you mean you haven't heard the term free time? And what do you mean what famous guitarists are known for free time? Literally anybody who plays without drums. Like you push and pull. You push and pull. If again, I don't have the guitar on hand, so if I play. Singer obviously. But yeah, rubato, free time. Like free time, and free time is incredibly important in just expressing yourself when you play. We push and pull time all the time. Hey Jude, definitely better with that metronome, right? It's funny, isn't it? Because I think, for all of you out there that are teachers, you know what it's like to have students who have weak time. So you're like, okay, we need to improve upon your ability to have time. We need to practice with metronomes, and we need to improve our ability to understand what the pulse is. So when we get to the final stage, we can then let go of that, and you can push and pull the time freely as you see fit. Yeah, you need good time to play free time. I mean, okay, let's jump outside of the jazz world. Remember the solo in the middle of Heartbreaker by Led Zeppelin? Free time. There is no time. Same idea here. This feels like ba da da. We're walking down. It's like in again. I've because I've just played Hey Jude. And any time you are afraid, da 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 da. Doesn't go there. Goes there. Hey Jude, don't carry the world upon your shoulders. Don't know why I've got the road sound on. Pedals there somewhere. That's what I'm hearing there on that. Ba-da-da. It's turning that F into an F7 sound. But point is, that's pickup. That's a pickup melody. So let's do that. How's he fingering it? Nope. See, this is a tricky one because there's an eighth note rest in here, right? So you would write it as like a bar of 17, 16 with the first of the quarter note pulse actually having 5 16th notes, but that would look silly. So we have to compromise. All right, what are the chords here? Just yep. Yeah, there's another note in the middle there would be muted. And yeah, this is like all ringing. And this is lovely. This is lovely. So he's going to, it's like a 2/5 sound, like C minor, F7. There's no avoiding C minor, F7. In fact, let's put that in. This is F7. And where would you take that? 2/5. Well, 2/5. A 2/5 in B flat. We would go C minor, F7, and we would expect that to go. That makes sense to the ears, right? But what does he do with it? He doesn't do that at all. He gives you the ultimate baller move of going from your 2, that 2, to your 5, and then just to upset you, which then resolves to our B flat major 7, which I'll play like that. So you get this like a B major 7, which then what did I do wrong there? That's awesome. So it's like a major 7 chord off the flat 2. So I'd notate it like this. Then we want to go through and fix accidentals. So that would be an F sharp. That's fine to be a B. We would be seeing this as being a C sharp, hammering to a D sharp, and then an F sharp. If you're seeing it as being a B major 7, the alternative there, which would require less accidentals but more people going, ugh, would be to call it a C flat major 7 chord. I think that, theoretically speaking, C flat major 7 would make more sense, because that is a major 7 chord built on the flat 2. The flat 2 of B flat is C flat. But in harmonics, it can be a pain. But I think thinking B major 7, which is really a sharp 1, to B flat major 7 is less offensive on the brain than C flat major 7. So we're resolving to so we want that slow. You don't get the choice on these, unfortunately. I'll put a beat of rest in there. So we're thinking of this as being B major 7 to B flat major 7. Time is an illusion anyway, yeah. Light learning scales is all about the fundamentals, then using an expression to paint with those colours. Yeah. Time is important. We should always, we should care about about time. But then as you get better with it, you can push and pull with it. Obviously, you can't play, here's the key thing, you can't play free time in a band. What do I mean by that? Right, so if somebody's playing a groove, if somebody's playing... You can solo over it and not pay attention to the time. So you might take that and go. You could do that and essentially have no time. But you are still playing you're playing in a context where there is a beat. So even if your playing is like really, really fighting that beat, and even because you're not in control of how much you're fighting that beat, it can still be notated because there is a pulse. This isn't that. This is like you are deciding how long each chord lasts for and the tempo of everything. So like the flat 6, flat 2 extension of the 2/5. No, I think you're overthinking that. I think that would be overthinking that guitar. I think of it as being a delayed resolution. It's not a B dominant 7. It's a B major 7. So I think what we're seeing here is we're seeing a lot of what you tend to see from people that have a bit of theory knowledge, where you try and rationalize the thing that you've heard. But the reality is, when you listen to what he played, there's no rationalizing that. That's just deliberately tension that surprises you. So one of my favorite things that I stole from Bill Evans' lesson was when you play if you play a 2/5/1 in the key of C. If I play where's my pedal? This totally works, right? It is technically correct. It's not technically correct. It is melodically sound. But if I change that one chord, instead of landing on a C major 7, if I change that and I land on, let's voice it like this. In fact, it'd probably be better for you if I play it like this. So I'm gonna land on a C. I'm going to land on a C diminished chord. So you get this. That Bill Evans thing to when you get to the one chord in a 2-5-1 would be to play the one chord as a diminished chord, and it just surprises you. There's no like, oh, it's extending, it's still thinking of the 5 chord. It's not. It's a twist on the chord that you're going to. You're expecting to land on a C major 7 chord, so he gives you something else which will then pull to the C major 7 chord. That's all we have here. It's a 2-5-1, but there's a delayed resolution. It's like you're deliberately giving you the wrong chord and then bringing it on. That makes sense? What we got here? So you're playing the D? I still want to overanalyze it, yeah. To be honest, I mean, that's something that I've only got better at in the last year or so. Being able to look at things and go, am I making this more complicated than it actually is? Because B dominant would be a tritone sub of F7, yes. But in those settings, it's one of those things, isn't it? Like B dominant 7 as a tritone sub for F absolutely works, but when you do those tritone subs, you're less likely to play B7. You're more likely to play something like B9. I think the idea being, if you take, I know the idea being that if you take an extended chord like an F13 chord on its own, none of the extensions are altered. If you jump over to the tritone substitution and you don't have alterations, you have natural extensions, so you put natural extensions on a B7 chord, they are going to be altered extensions of the chord that you're actually on. Versus if you go to that tritone substitution, if I go to a B7 chord, but I play like B7 sharp 9 sharp 5, that actually ends up not sounding all that out, because the sharp 9 and sharp 5 are actually really inside sounds on an F7 chord. It's the 13 and the 9, so they don't sound all that wild. So you deliberately want to play something like a B9, because then you have the 9 of B, which is actually like the flat 13 of F, and you have the 5 of B, which is really like the flat 9 of F. See, you can overanalyze this stuff, but it takes the fun out of everything. Yeah, there's a reason why I'm still using Transcribe. Lots of reasons, actually. One, you can't import video into Guitar Pro. So there you go. That's the most important reason. And two, the audio function of Transcribe is just better. You can import audio in Guitar Pro, but it's not as good as the control that you have over the audio in Transcribe. So there's your answer. Any surprises on the Joe Pass version of Misty? I've not actually transcribed the Joe Pass version of Misty. Joe is one of those players who I hate transcribing for this very reason, the free time nature of everything he plays. So what are we playing here? In terms of the structure of the tune, what have we done? We started on, here's the tune start, play the 2, 5, and 1. You have the turn around, you come back to the 1. Yep, 5. And then this, you'd have this is really like the turnaround idea. Then we're repeating the tune again, so we're playing the F. You've got the 2, 5, going to the B flat. This is like B flat major, should be B flat minor to E flat 7. None of that can be seen as E flat 7. So what I'm going for is like, what's the harmonic perspective I'm thinking of this particular run? Like, what chord is he thinking of here? Ah. So, in terms of notating this, sorry, I know my face is in the way. I'm trying to do this in a way that my face doesn't get in the way. This phrase here, boom, ba, boom, ba, boom, that descending chromatic pedal tone. We know that note is going to be on the beat, and because of that, but it's falling off the beat here. So I think the best way around this is a ghost, a muted note. So rather than offsetting all the melody that came before that, what I'm going to do to make this fit on the page nicely is I'm going to make that a grace note, because he does sweep through it. This will put that right on the beat. And then we can go ba 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 ba. There's our chord. I'm actually alright with that. So this line here is so B flat minor. Which makes sense. Like, he's playing the form. He really is playing the form of Misty here. He's not doing a bad job of it at all. This is very much B flat minor, like B flat, B flat Dorian. He's got the melodic minor fragments in there, which I could play on that stuff all day long on guitar. That's home for me. Let me get more bars in this, and when I've got more bars, I'll be able to zoom in and not have my face in the way. So this is all B flat minor, and then when he gets here, this is your very obvious. These are your guide tones, right? This is you got that walk down. We're getting 7, and then we're landing on. So you got root, major 7, flat 7, and then what you think is being 6, but of course it's not the 6. It's really the 3 of the E flat 7 chord. So this is our resolution to the E flat 9. He actually plays an E flat 13, I guess, but I'm gonna put E flat 9 in there. I like how you visualize the fretboard on the piano. Wish I could see it that way. I mean, Steve-O, I've only been playing the piano for 18 months, and it's the best thing I've done. Check out the link in the description. There's a link to Piano, which is where I started my journey on piano. I've partnered up with those guys now, so you can get a 30-day free trial over there, completely free. You don't need to pay for it, and I get paid for you doing a free trial. And you should be able to get everything that you would need to know out of it. And it's really interesting, actually. I find piano very interesting. The reason I find it so interesting is because what I have found, for anyone that has studied guitar with me, I actually learned guitar like you would learn piano, in terms of, or like you would learn jazz piano. So my visualization system on the guitar is so linked to harmony and triads, that when I jump over to playing the piano, I've been able to adapt to it relatively quickly because, oh, okay, I need to be able to see triads. Cool. That's a strong point for me. So intervals, just force yourself to recognize intervals on the guitar. Pianos. I mean, I'm going to go off on a bit of a tangent. This isn't a tangent at all, but as much as I say I'm learning piano, I'm actually really learning the organ, jazz organ, and I'm having lessons at the moment with Tony Monaco. And last time I hooked up with Tony a couple of days ago, like we've been doing all of our we've been doing these. Simple stuff, right? And we learn this bass line as being 1 6 5 flat 2, 1 6 5 flat 2. Then when I was in my last lesson with Tony, he was like, right, so what we're going to do now is you can see the guide tones that we're playing on the right hand. We're going to add the root on top of that. So and then we can drop down to. And I found it interesting that what he said we could add the sharp 9 and we get. So he's an organ player and he's thinking in terms of intervals. But then the thing I've had the most fun with is taking my guide tones, and now I'm working on walking bass lines in my left hand. When I'm doing that, I'm thinking like 1 3 1 3 6 flat 5 5. I really am thinking intervals here. And then, so when I've had to switch my key up to something like B flat, the same. Nope, did it again. I'm thinking intervals, and when I'm working on those bass lines, rather than thinking scales and things like that, and that's things are coming together like really really quickly, and that's nice. A nice improvement on the nice improvement on the Ivory's Hammond B3 on the horizon. Well, what I say to that, Godot, is, well, two things. I have an organ. In fact, actually, it's plugged in. I can, hang on, 2 seconds. Don't know fun till you play organ. Oh. So that same thing. So I'm way ahead of you there. A long way to go before I'm a proficient organ player. But yeah, I absolutely love the organ. Love, love, love. I've been listening to the band Organissimo, which is just outrageously good little organ trio band. Just fabulous players. I recommend you check Organissimo out. Who are great. And I'm also next week I'm going down south to pick up a Hammond C3, a vintage Hammond C3, and a Leslie speaker. So Jam Origin. No, I haven't. I would love to do some Corey Henry. I'm more likely to do some Organissimo or some Tony Monaco because he's my teacher. I've done a Joey DeFrancesco transcription, organ transcription on my channel. So there's something really fucking magic about the organ. Like, you can't beat this. Bit of overdrive, don't want that. Apparently I can't play. Rotary speakers are just... I use the Fender pinwheel on my pedal board, guitar pedal board, which is a rotary sim pedal, and it's my main sound now. When I'm playing in the Smoking Crows, I use a rotary sim sound on my guitar like so often, and being able to switch it on to get that ramp speed is just love it. So anyway, sorry I got distracted. So we went, sorry, you know what I should do? Hang on, let's do this. This stream is brought to you by my wonderful supporters over on Patreon. If you want to be like these awesome people and get access to my weekly guided practice routines, cool, one of those going up tomorrow, I'll tell you about that in a second, or my weekly guided ear training sessions, or you want to download this transcription that I do along with all the other Patreon transcriptions that I do, please do check out the link in the description to my Patreon page and support me over there for as little as $1. You can also head on over to Amazon and check out one of my many books. I have lots and lots of books available, and I'm sure you will find something in there that you will enjoy. So thanks very much, you awesome people. And no, you can't possibly distract me from the transcription. I'll finish the transcription no matter what, but like, I'm really excited about organ and playing music, and I can talk about music all day. So if I'm sat here talking with people that are excited by music, and I get the opportunity to goof off on my organ, like, I'm gonna take that opportunity. I do have here I've got the Nord Piano 5. I have an organ sound on it, but it's not good because the Piano 5 model doesn't really do organ sounds. I've got the Nord Electro 6 in the house, which has actual organ sounds. This is just a sampled organ sound, and it's not the best. I'll take the piano sound off. Apparently I can't play triads. It's not a great organ sound, but fun. It's an interesting question here. Love your work. Wondering if you also do transcription jobs more towards the arrangement side of things. Example, converting multiple guitars into a single one to be performed by one guitar. So the thing there is, that's not really a transcription job. You know, that is, as you point out, that is an arrangement job. And I don't generally like stuff like that. And the reason I don't like stuff like that is transcription is relatively objective. You're either right or you're wrong. You either transcribe the note correctly or you transcribe it incorrectly, whereas an arrangement job requires more creative input in what you're doing. And there's personal taste in there. So there's things that people do like and things that people don't like. I have a very analytical, let's say autistic brain. And therefore dealing in facts is much more comforting for me than dealing in the creative side of things. I'm not the creative. My partner Melissa, she's the creative. She's the writer. She's the one with the masters in songwriting, not me. So I leave the creative stuff to people like that. It's not to say that I won't do it. I'm happy to do stuff like that when I have time to do it. But you know, I'm chock a block. I'm completely booked up. I have a waiting list. It's going to be like months before I can take on new decent sized projects because I've got so many things that I'm supposed to be doing. So it would have to be something really, really, really interesting to grab my attention to do an arranging job. We're going to like a D minor, a 9. Blah, ba, do, ba, ba. Is that A minor 7 time? That's like Neo Cell 101, right? That's G minor 7. Same lick. Hammer this time. Playing a G7. Let me move some things around. Don't want 4 bars on that line. It's going to be too cramped. Okay, is there a way that I can change this? Yeah, let's do this. Move this here. There we go. I like that more. Okay, now we've got chords. Guesswork here. G minor 7 or G minor 9. Or nope. You can hear it. Yeah. What's happening? Oh, I've not played Daddy Brother Love a Little Boy in a very, very long time. Very long time. Hope you're well, Robin. I keep seeing you on Facebook. Actually, I saw you on Facebook just the other day. A picture of you looking suave, and I think you're probably the same, right? You see people from the old days, people that you've known for like 15 years now, and you're like, oh, I remember when you were just a wee boy. I remember when we were all just wee boys. Now we're men, old men, heading towards middle-aged men. What's this voicing? So what I'm doing here there's a note in there. So, sometimes I will do this. Yeah, it's just a major triad. This isn't. It's going to be that'd be an example of where we would change that to a G sharp, because I'm thinking that's been C7 sharp 5. I mean, I'm going to stop soon because it's nearly 10:30 and I've got dinner in the house. So what have we got going on here? D flat. This is A minor 7. Not SM7. That's the microphone I'm talking into. A minor 7. D minor 7. Then these are diminished chords. What do I want to think of this as being? Diminished chords more often than not as functioning as 7 flat 9 chords. We're going to a G minor. If you're resolving to a G minor, see, this is me using theory, right? If we're going to G minor, then we would be going via a D7 chord. Yeah, we do have E flats in there, so you could think of this as being like D7 flat 9. D7 flat 9. It is a D7 flat 9, or I guess based on that you would say E flat diminished 7, which is going to give you your diminished 7 sound based on the flat 9. But actually, more often than not, you're going to see these diminished chords written as being on the major third of the dominant chord. So F sharp diminished 7. And if we look at the first diminished chord he plays, it is an F sharp diminished 7. So we'll do that. G minor 7, G7. Then this is G minor 7 again. Yeah, it's like a 2/5, right? C13, C7 sharp 5. Random to throw in that dominant 7 chord there, but you know, such is life. Put the fermata on it. I'll read the comment. Trying to get my theory back in business by playing a lot of Mr. Big stuff. I mean, I don't think Mr. Big is known for pushing your theory chops. Want to get into jazz more someday. Oh yeah, bird blues. Charlie Parker's blues, like the blues for Alice type blues, it's nice because I wrote an article on that for Premier Guitar probably 10 years ago now. That goes into that and how it's really like a mutated form of a 12-bar blues. Very cool. We're going to end there on the F major 7 when he comes back to the 1 chord. And oh no, seems like a good enough place to end. Now we'll play it back, and you'll go, that doesn't sound like how he played it. Nature of the beast, free time, unfortunately. But now, of course, I can highlight the whole thing and put it in free time. And now it's suddenly a little bit more forgiving, right? So let's save this. This is going to go, oh, you didn't see that. Sorry. Fuck it. I'm sure you're aware that he has music coming out. What am I doing? All right, not me. It's like when you see people on streams and people ask them to type in Portugal, and they do that so their web browser comes up with Pornhub, just so you can embarrass them in the knowledge that they go on Pornhub, like everybody does. What are we doing here? Patreon. Okay, Patreon. It's not weekly guided practice, just transcriptions. So this is Jairus, Mozee, Misty. I don't have those days are long gone, mate. No one needs to store porn on their computers anymore. That's what the cloud's for. Right, so that's saved. Let's take a listen to it. So, yeah, I'd have to go through this and really do loads and loads of tweaks to the tempo to make it play back like it does on the recording. And I don't think this is a great way to end, actually. I don't think that's a good way to be doing things, because as a transcriber, what my job is to make transcriptions. Transcriptions are things that you read, right? My job is not to make MIDI files. It could be my job to make MIDI files, but that's not the job that I see myself as doing. I'm not interested in people that want a MIDI file that plays, because then you're working within the limitations of Guitar Pro. You're working within the limitations of whatever software you're using and how good the MIDI playback is, right? Someone's going to be annoyed that, oh, well, it slides from this note to this note, but like it does it in a weird time. Well, it's MIDI data. There's nothing I can do about that. I make transcriptions. So for me, it's about being able to read the thing. And when I look at this, I'm sure you guys are the same. I'm sure you would be confident that you could look at this, you could pick this up and you could strum along to this and you would be able to play it, because I've given you enough information on the page in terms of the way that the rhythm can roughly be felt in order for you to add your own expression to it and make it sound real. If you think of, it would probably take me another hour of time, potentially longer, to really go through this and get the MIDI playback to have the same tempo feel as the original recording. And I say the same thing to students all the time, right? Would that hour be better spent doing something else? Would you be better off spending that hour working on triads on the piano, or ear training something, or transcribing something else? For me, like, yes, I've got all these things that I want to transcribe, and that hour would be better spent on transcribing something else than it would be doing pointless MIDI data. You know what I mean? So, yeah. And of course, when it comes to, Robin's comment there about correcting fingerings rather than rhythmically, like my transcriptions are going to be bulletproofly accurate. when it comes to rhythmically, when it comes to things that are in time, but this isn't in time. So it's like notating a rhythm is one thing, but perceiving a pulse that doesn't exist, that's open to so much interpretation, and I'm not really interested in that. Because I think of it like this: if we put that information on the page, yeah. So let's say this transcription, you were looking at it, and over here it was like 60 BPM, and then we've got increase in tempo from 60 up to 82, and then here we're going to slow down to like 80, and then this is gradually there's going to be an increase in tempo here, but then for this he's going to jump up to 115 BPM. Like, that just doesn't mean anything to the average person. The average person, if I say to you, what does 115 BPM sound like? And then what does 110 BPM sound like? You know, we are not doing, what's his first name? Fletcher from Whiplash. We're not quite my tempo. Like, no one's like that. No one's like that in reality. So, could a program in the future automatically tweak the time? Well, in theory, so here's the thing, Sat. You can kind of do it in Guitar Pro with the way the audio input works in Guitar Pro, right? So I could just put the audio input in Guitar Pro and then drag the bars to where I've perceived the start of each bar to be. And then what it's going to do is it's going to tell you the tempo of the bar that you've just stretched. Of course, that's not quite the same, because that's like changing tempos on each bar rather than introducing the idea of a pulse that gradually increases in tempo over the course of a bar. There's a difference between a bar being 110 BPM and the bar after being 120 BPM versus two bars being 2 bars at 110 BPM that gradually one bar at 100, I don't know. 1 bar at 105 BPM that increases over gradually increases up to 120 BPM. Those are different things, right? So I know you can do something similar like that in Sound Slice. I know some guys do their transcriptions in Sound Slice. I don't. Perceiving a pulse that does not exist. I mean, here's the ultimate thing, and I keep talking about this. If you watch my video that I did just the other day on how to get started in pulse and rhythm and eighth notes and quarter notes and counting rhythms and reading rhythms and this shit, I talk about pulse being a uniquely human thing. It's a uniquely human experience, because there's no such thing as a pulse. There's no such thing as pulse. When you really think about it, when you listen to a recording, the pulse is just something that you perceive. That thing that you tap your foot to, it's not really there. It's not a tangible thing. We can all collectively agree on it. We can listen to a song that's at 120 BPM and feel the pulse that goes through it, right? But a dog probably can't. Because we have brains that are powerful enough to understand the passage of time, and I think that's a uniquely human thing. We understand the passage of time, and then we have the ability to not just understand that, but we can perceive the time and measure things in relation to that passage of time, which is really, really deep when you think about it. Yeah, so that's a uniquely human thing. I like that. Sat, you're still not understanding what free time is. You're not understanding what free time is. If a drummer is going, it doesn't matter what you play over the top of it. You've got a pulse. The phrases that you play might not lock in with that pulse in the same way, but there's still a pulse. It's still in time. It's not free time. That's a different. If you have a drummer that's going, that's free time. That's pushing and pulling with the time. No one would ever do that. That would be awful. Anyway, thank you very much. Sat, I would recommend you go and look into free time a little bit more, and if you need to send me any messages and you need help about that, you just let me know. And you speed that pulse up, so it's relative to time. Yeah, it's getting deep, guys. Enjoy your evening. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you for another stream next month.